go ahead and call the regular meeting of the Charles City Board of Education order and have a roll call attendance, please.
Walker.
Here.
Knight.
Here.
Bryan. Here. Mack.
Here.
Whitcomb. Here.
Agenda item 2 is reading of the district mission statement by Director Mack.
Our mission is to engage, inspire, and empower students and staff in order to maximize learning.
Thank you. And agenda item 3 is approval of the agenda. Any additions or corrections? Changes? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is second to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 4 is to welcome visitors and receive public comment. Is there anyone that wishes to make public comment this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item 5, comments by board members and the superintendent.
Thank you. We have replaced all of the high school parking lot lights with LED lighting, and we've added 2 additional light poles between the new transportation center and the high school parking lot to give that more illumination. The bleachers at Comet Field are looking sharp. All the wood has been replaced with aluminum, and the support structure underneath is being painted black. Lastly, after the 4th of July, work will begin on a walking path from the high school. So it starts where the high school parking lot and Comet Drive meet, kind of goes up through that tree area over to the middle school to give students a safe way to get to and from the bus loading area in Clark Street.
Excellent. Any comments by board members?
I just want to say that this is Dr. Cox's last board meeting, and that we should recognize his 5 long years of great service to the district, and we're very appreciative of it. And wish him the best of luck in his new position, way on the other side of the state. As far away from us as almost you can get, which is disappointing, but I hope things work very positively for you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And I'll echo the same.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been, 100% of my time on the board has been with you, and appreciate all the leadership you've given and gotten us to where we're at now, and put us in a good position to just keep moving forward. So appreciate everything and wish you the best of luck. Again, we're on the other side of the state.
The German students made it back from, our students that went to Germany made it back today, landed safely in Minneapolis. However, the chartered bus that the parents took up to collect the students broke down an hour from Minneapolis, and they spent quite a bit of the afternoon trying to figure out how to get the students and then pick them up to come back. So at least everybody's safe, and the students have made it back into the United States, so that's good.
Anything else? Agenda item 6 is the results of the culture survey. I'll have Dr. Cox flip through some of the results.
All right. So we have the employee culture survey that we took this spring, and these are the results. School Perceptions is the company that did it, and their mission is to help educational leaders gather, organize, and use data to make strategic decisions. A company founded in 2002. They provide independent and unbiased research, and they've done 10,000 plus surveys for schools, and that's why they were selected to do our survey. What they know is that staff engagement leads to student engagement, and that leads to student outcomes. So just a few things. The survey was conducted April and May of this year. Negotiations were taking place at that same time, important to make note of. All staff received a unique access code that could only be used once. We had 156 employees take the survey. That is a 57% participation rate. You're going to see some statistics off to the side as we go through the slides. I talked with the company. Anything that would be plus or minus 0.2 or higher would be something that you would want to at least make note of, depending on how large the number is. And our results were compared to 10 districts in the Midwest that would be similar to Charles City that took a survey at some point in the last 12 months. So who took our survey? As you can see, based on location, the middle school had the largest number at 33%, going all the way down to transportation with 2%. Classroom teachers would best describe the folks that took the survey. 43% of the respondents were teachers. The next one, instructional aid, also paraprofessional. We call those instructional assistants here in Charles City. The next category is educational specialist. So if you're not a core teacher, if you're a counselor, if you teach students with special needs, librarian, those types of positions, that's a separate category. Other support staff and then administration. We had the largest group of people who took the survey were actually veterans that have been with us 10 years or more. That was 37% of the respondents. You can see it trails down then, people who are new to up to no response given, 4%. People were asked to rank a maximum of 5 high priorities, what it takes to provide a quality education for all students. I won't read those to you, but you can see what the top 5 choices were.
And this is all posted on the website?
This is all posted to the website. Yeah, you have access to this under exhibits. Change readiness. Notice there's a 5, a 4, a 2, and a 1. There is no 3, so you had to choose. You either strongly agreed, you disagreed, or you strongly disagreed. The percentage of people who strongly agree or disagree is the first of the numerical columns. Then there's an average. The comparison group, again, those 10 school districts like us that took a survey sometime in the last 12 months, schools in the Midwest, and then the difference. I realize that these numbers are hard to read off of this screen resolution. So I put in red anything that was less than 50%, and green anything that was 80% and above in that first column. So you'll notice that there's a red number here. There's a process for evaluating the effectiveness of new initiatives, and that scored 35% by our staff. Otherwise, everything else was at least 50% or higher of strongly agree or agree to the statement that was given. Student achievement. A couple of things that hit lower numbers. Hard to read, but that is an 11%. So the second from the bottom, student discipline. This is according to employees. Student discipline is handled in a consistent manner by all staff. 11% of our staff agreed that their peers, that everybody on board is handling things consistently. And lastly, the emotional and social needs. The social and emotional needs of students are being met, came in at 37%. For engagement, nothing in the red, but you'll notice that 96% of the people that took the survey said, my work contributes to the success of our district. 85% proud of our district. Communication, school or department information is communicated effectively to me. And that one scored into the red, and I actually can't even see what that says. 49%, so just a shade below 50. Otherwise, people felt good about board policies and having a good understanding of the goals of the district. 81% on both of those. How would you rate communication from different people within the district? Principal or building administration came in at 38%, so we have some work to do there. Custodians, maintenance, 79, transportation, 74%, technology, 75, doing really well in those areas. Culture. 90% of the people said my coworkers are willing to help me when I have a heavy workload. It's good. Academic expectations of our students. Are they too high, just right, or too low? Only 4% said they're too high, 53% just right, and 43% too low. The work environment. Again, really high numbers. 80% is the lowest of the agree, strongly disagree people on this page. Again, really consistently good numbers on the second slide of work environment. Health and wellness. Our district's wellness committee is effective, 20%. That's not a shock. Our district wellness committee was formed late in the school year, so they really haven't had a chance to get going with many activities as it is, and they already have a plan of what things will look like next year when it comes to wellness. Development and recognition. I receive credit and recognition when I do a good job. 48% of people agreed or strongly agreed with that. And I receive meaningful and timely feedback that helps me improve my performance. Again, 48. So we need to do a little better job in that arena in the next school year. Compensation and benefits. Really good numbers over here. And again, compared to other schools who take this survey, we are 0.41 up to 0.6 higher than all of those other districts. Building leadership. Consistency when administering policies concerning employees came in at 47%. And at the district level, being responsive to major concerns of employees came in at 44%. So some work to do there. School board, high marks, 89%, 77%. People are, resolution is changing. Salary, when asked to rank what is most important when it comes to pay, no surprise, the things that rank at the top are the things that we currently do or have always done. So paying people for advanced degrees, length of service, educators evaluation, additional skills, and additional work duties like coaching, curriculum work, etc. Job satisfaction. People were asked to pick 4 of the most important job satisfaction factors. And the top 4 were compensation or salary, meaningful work, benefits, and a healthy culture and working conditions. Collaboration, we have really good scores on this page. Again, you can access all of this at the district website under Board of Education and Exhibits. On the second page of collaboration, opportunities exist for common planning between buildings, and this is in the 30s. Is that 35, 38? 30, okay. We know that. We've done a great job at getting all of our grade level teachers together in one building so that this number wouldn't be 10%. But then collaboration between Lincoln and Washington and the high school, etc. Whatever the range of buildings is, we still need to do some work with that. Technology, the 2 things that we scored lowest in would be the questions about providing input on what was purchased for the classroom. And then on this technology slide, the scoring is either 3 for frequently, 2 occasionally, 1 never. And you can see how we're doing, and we're outperforming our comparison schools in every area except the 4th question. I work with fellow teachers in my school to create, modify, and improve my practice for using technology as a learning tool. PBIS, positive behavior interventions and supports. The first question, I had the training needed to effectively implement PBIS programming in my classroom or area of work. 78% agree or strongly agree to that. And that's 0.42 better than the comparison districts. So people are saying, yes, I've got the training. And it's followed up with, we use the common language to teach and redirect students. Only scored at 52%. Expectations are consistent, 32%. Consequences, 22%. As far as consistency, implementation of PBIS has helped improve behaviors. I can't read that one, but it's in the red. And implementation of PBIS has improved student behaviors in school 41%. So yes, we've had training. I know what to do, but as a district, we're not doing it effectively, and therefore we're not seeing the results in student behavior is what the survey is telling us on this page. Overall satisfaction. We're back to the 5421. Our community sports education, 90%. The district is a good place to work, 88%. The district has improved, 56%. And I'm satisfied with financial management, 53%. Again, probably ties into negotiations with a 53% rather than something higher. What grade would you give us? 7% said an A, 46% B. So 53% of our staff said we're doing A, B work as a district. And the other 46%, 47% say we've got some room to grow yet. How would you rate Charles City Schools compared to neighboring public school districts? 5% much better, 26% better, 28% the same. So that's over half our people would give those first 3 answers. The school perceptions staff engagement has 12 indices, and there's 4 questions under each of 3 areas. So people, place, and process are the 3 big categories broken down into 12 indices. People would be things like control over your work environment, health and stress management, workload affirmation. Place, do you have the tools and training to be successful? Is there collaboration and teamwork? Is there a culture of educational excellence and trust in building leadership? And then the process is the public and parent support or trust, the planning and improvement process, trust in district leadership, and communication. So how do our index scores compare to similar schools? I put in bold, green, the top 5, and then in red, the ones that were at least 0.2 in the negative and below. So we're doing well compared to our similar schools in affirmation, how well people are equipped, the workload, health and stress management, and communications. Next steps. So we've looked at this as an administrative team. Principals are going to focus on the top 3 needs at each building. You've got a new superintendent coming on board in 6 days. His goal is to meet with every staff person, so that would be 265 to 280 conversations. And he's going to be doing some monthly formative assessments, or I should say the building principals will be doing monthly formative assessments of culture so that we can gauge progress that's being made over 18-19. Question?
Thoughts?
Yeah, a couple questions. On slide, I think it was 3 and 4, you have the distribution. What's the distribution of people per building? Is there more staff in the middle school? Would that make more sense why we'd have more responses from that position, from that building?
No. So the numbers that you see here, the middle school and the high school would have pretty much an equivalent number of staff.
Okay.
The high school probably has slightly higher than the middle school when it comes to numbers. And then Washington would be the 3rd largest, and Lincoln would be the smallest of the buildings.
And then on the next slide, where you have the distribution of teachers to aides, as a whole, do we have 50% more teachers than we have aides?
We would have 121 teaching staff, 7 administrators, and 150 plus or minus support staff.
Okay. So there is a little bit more support staff.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's very good.
Other questions?
Well, this is something that I pushed for a long time. Obviously, we've had numerous conversations about this stuff, and I think it's a great starting point, for us to really dig deeper, find out some core things that we can work on to improve culture and climate in our buildings. It was never intended to be anything that was, okay, this is what we're failing at, this is what we're struggling with here or there. It's simply here are the things that the staff have on their minds that we can from their level work on to help improve their basically workplace environment to help provide the best product that we can, or put out the best product we can for the students. So, I'm excited to see what Mike and his admin staff are going to be able to pull together for recommendations here on things that we can implement to address some of these things. But it really has to be stated that there are a lot of positives in here too to be celebrated. So that's a great thing to see, and it makes, I hope, some of our staff feel good that they are out there and that we are doing good things.
Right. We have a lot of great things going on, and the number that said, hey, we're not assessing the effectiveness, spot on. And this is one way to assess the effectiveness of the district as a whole, and how do we improve if we don't know what areas to fix. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you for your work on that. I thank you guys for taking the time to look through that, and I look forward to the results.
Some areas that may have been rated or ranked higher, if we hadn't done the survey right after budget cuts or in the middle of negotiations.
Right.
It wasn't necessarily an ideal time to do a survey based upon those 2 things, because those 2 things do create stress, whether you're directly affected by what's going on or not. So, I would just caution us in the future, hopefully we don't do this kind of a survey again in April or May during that time period.
Or do we have a recommendation as far as will this become an annual event, a biannual event? What is the course for? This is my understanding, we do want this to become a norm. Is it so that individuals do become maybe more active in this process and understand that this is a way for them to communicate, or?
You know, your incoming superintendent and high school principal have many years of experience in another school district in Waterloo with employee surveys and all the stuff that goes into it, and not just the annual one, but, you know, monthly check-ins to see how are people doing. And so I think with their leadership, you may do this as an annual thing as a board. You may decide that you're getting good enough feedback monthly, quarterly from staff that you do this once every 2 years. And I think you'll probably play it out over a few months and see how are things going. But yeah, it's a good question to ask, is how often is often enough to have something like this done at a cost.
Yeah.
But we want to have some time to review what we've learned and have an opportunity to evaluate it and talk about what ways we can improve before we go and do the survey again. So we just get the same results.
Absolutely.
So, I'm sure Dr. Fisher's got some great ideas.
Awesome. We'll move on to agenda item 7, which is legislative priorities. We talked about this at the last meeting. Do we have any changes since the last meeting?
We discussed, I had given you what my 2 priorities were. We can have up to 4 priorities that we can send in. I basically had 2 recommended from what are the existing ISAB priorities, and there had been a little discussion about coming up with some others. I don't know if we're ready at this point yet to continue that discussion, or if we want to continue to table this again.
What do they do?
August.
You're still allowed to bring something up from the floor,
We are,
so
yeah.
2 is sufficient.
I think these are 2 pretty critical ones that we've pushed, and hopefully one I think has some legs that we can hopefully, repeal of the sunset will move forward this year. Cross that off the list.
If we okay these and we do go ahead and we submit these to, as I mentioned before, the mental health, to elaborate on that priority would be a plus. It would be nice to see that elaborated on and give it a little more meat, some more specifics. I mean, that even showed up in our survey, our lack there.
Maybe that's something one of our legislators can help with, some sort of verbiage or something that they're aware of that's been talked about on there.
Well, I know there were some changes in categorical funding and that stuff, that in those areas that may blend. And there's going to be some, I know there's already talk with the administration of some things that are going to be different for upcoming time in those areas, sharing and things like that. So maybe we can discuss those more too. And
So we want to table it for,
we can table it, we can go ahead, and Terry can go ahead and submit these 2. And then I can bring to you, I can start to try to collect some more information on something, a resolution that we actually bring to convention with us, and see if we come up with something we feel ready. There is, like we said, we discussed elections, could totally change climate,
yeah, that's a big
of
one.
what's going to happen there, and we might need to wait to see what that brings also.
Support either one.
Move to approve the 2 legislative priorities as recommended.
And I'll second it.
Motion second to approve the legislative priorities as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And item 8 is the board meeting dates. The administration recommends that the board meet once in July on the 3rd Monday. Allow for more time for the business office during their fiscal year end close. Is there a motion or discussion? This will be July 16th, I believe. Is that right?
Correct.
I'll make a motion to approve the change to the July board meeting date as recommended.
Second.
Motion second to approve the change to the July board meeting date is recommended. Any additional discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 9 is the second reading of policy series 700, 800, and 900. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading of board policy 700, 800, and 900 as recommended.
I'll second.
Motion is second to approve the second reading of board policy 700, 800, and 900 as recommended. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 10 is the flexibility funds transfer. I guess, Terry, or
So we have the ability to transfer funds from the categorical account into a flexibility account. That was one of the changes from the legislature a year ago. We are recommending that the homeschool assistance program, which has a lot of money and far more money than we can use in any given year to support the program, and we've supported it fully, to transfer all but $20,000 from that into the flexibility account. And also Iowa Core Curriculum, because some other funds have been released for professional development. We'd like to take the Iowa Core Curriculum and just put it into the flexibility account as well, because we're meeting the professional learning needs for staff through other accounts.
comments or questions?
Another great piece of legislation that allowed us some local control that we're very thankful for.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer of homeschool assistant program funds, all but $20,000 of remaining balance, and the unused balance of Iowa Core Curriculum funds as of 6/30/18.
Second.
Motion second to approve the transfer of homeschool assistance program funds, all but $20,000 of remaining balance, and the unused balance of the Iowa Core Curriculum Fund as of 6/30/18. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 11 is the teacher leader stipends. Discussion or motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the teacher leader stipends as recommended.
I'll second.
Motion second to approve the TLC stipends as recommended. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 12 is the payment of second June bills.
Informational only. At the end of every year, we have a second check run to get as many bills paid in the fiscal year as possible.
Excellent.
Those bills will be approved at the July meeting.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Agenda item 13 is the consideration of the consent agenda. Take the motion.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is second to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And then, let's see here, important correspondence miscellaneous, none. Important upcoming dates, July 16th, regular board meeting at 6. With that, we will adjourn to closed session. If there's a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn to a closed session per Iowa Code 21.5A to review or discuss records which are required or authorized by state or federal law to be kept confidential or be kept confidential as a condition of the governmental body's possession or continual receipt of federal funds. The board discuss the evaluation of the superintendent of schools.
I'll second.
Motion second to adjourn to closed session for Iowa Code 21.5.1A to review or discuss records which are required or authorized by state or federal law to be kept confidential or to be kept confidential as a condition for that governmental body's possession or continued receipt of federal funds. Roll call vote, please.
Dyke,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Knapp,
Yes.
Bakehomer,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes. We will adjourn to closed session.